Boom. Well, you are going to be live on YouTube right now.
Okay, cool.
All right. All right, guys, we are live on the YouTubes. All right. All right, perfect. So,
Okay, cool.
boom.
Cool.
All right, let's rock and roll. So we got Mr. Joseph Rodriguez. For those who don't know, Joseph, Hall of Fame member, butt kicker, several million, I don't know, over 2 million, but what's your exact career sales?
Probably like 2.5 or 6, somewhere around there.
Nice. So approaching that next mill, which is pretty cool. By the way, Joseph is somebody who has excelled in like every area, from in-home demos, servicing customers, events team, help build out, tested different programs for our company with like big closing gifts and federal program, and just we are so blessed to have him working in our division. He has been super big influencer in many of our CSP's careers already. Just this year, from him joining our events team and working with us here in the Houston area. So I just want to say, Joseph, I really appreciate you and everything you brought, your energy. The guys always talk about your energy, your willingness to help, sharing your knowledge. It's just been incredible to be able to have you. So thank you so much.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having me on this Zoom call. I kind of wanted to keep this very, very kind of like real clean and concise with y'all. And then I'm going to show you exactly what I do and see kind of how you guys can apply this into your business, right? So there's 4 major things that I want to go over. The first one is have a plan. If you guys don't have a plan, or if you haven't started on your plan, you want to start it literally today. Well, one of the big things that I use is actually either like a daily calendar or event calendar. Since most of I try to break everything up in mostly events. And what I mean by that is, like today, I have to kind of do like a half day. So I'm supposed to be at the mall right now, but I'll go after. So half my day is the mall, half my day is admin phone calls right now. But on a daily basis, I'm picking one thing. So if I was going to do just service calls, that's my service call day. Or if I'm going to do demos, that's my demo day. Or if I'm going to do closing gifts, that's my closing gift day, etc. Can y'all see my screen here? Oops.
Yeah.
Oh, wrong one. Okay. So this is my 2020 calendar. What I put together is everything in white is kind of not confirmed yet, 100%. Everything in yellow is days that are for basically my selling days. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have about 12 to 14, 15 days in here. That's going to be my push for January. And the way I kind of figured that out is I really work backwards. So the first thing is you need to know your numbers. You need to know the number of demos you need. You need to know the number of sales that you actually have to create. You need to know your average order, and you probably want to write these down. So number of demos needed, number of sales needed, your average order, your closing percent, and the number of calls needed. And here's the most important one. If you're going to write down anything or pay attention to anything, it's going to come down to one thing, and this is for any business. It's the number of leads that you have. So you probably want to start at that number first, then work backwards. So let's say if you want to sell 20, 30, 40K, you're going to have to take how many leads and work backwards through all the numbers on exactly where you actually need to get to. So if your average order is $500 and you're trying to sell 10,000, you take that 10,000 divided by 500, and then that's how many demos you need. And then you also have to put in there, you have to factor your closing rate and just kind of just work the numbers. So when I think of sales, truly, it's really just one giant math equation. And then of course you have to learn your skills on top of that. But if you don't know your numbers, you're just going to be kind of going blindly. And it's going to be very difficult. So I'd say that's the number one thing. The other thing is, if you have any personal things that need to get done before the push, I would try to knock them out, or the second thing, or you can outsource them. And when I say outsource, maybe hire a friend for, a couple bucks here and there, call your sister, call your brother, and ask them to do some of the chores for you that are non-income producing or non-CPO producing. Your CPO producing things are going to be being on the phone, calling customers, calling past customers, calling, like texting, getting referrals, and in demos, service calls, or if you're running an event also. And if y'all see this right here, this is a spreadsheet that I created. I have it mapped out pretty much all the way till the end of the year. So I have a pretty good idea on what I'm going to sell already for 2020. Now, some of this stuff is not filled in yet, but it's kind of it's not as stressful for me because I've been planning this all year. And it's something that, maybe you don't have it right now, but you want to kind of get in the habit to kind of know exactly where you're going to sell for the year or just for a push. The other thing is, if you don't have, like, this is just my event-based calendar, right? So this is like, I have like the San Antonio Net meeting. I have this Yankee Dental event, right? And then right here on the 15th, I have a service event, which we're planning to have like 15 to 20 people at. I know your schedule is going to look a little different, but if you're more just kind of appointment-based, of course, you want to plug in your Google Calendar or just have a calendar in general. So that'd be the first part. And what I'll do, Kathy, just to kind of not make this a little overwhelming, is I'm going to go over one topic and then answer like 2 or 3 questions and then just go to the next topic. So does anybody have any questions on having a plan or how to like plan things out?
Yeah, so can you see me?
Talk loud.
So my question is, when you make a plan, what are some tips that you have to better stick to that plan in the face of, like, I guess, adversity? Because I know that's something I personally struggle with. I can be great at making a really detailed, well thought out schedule.
So more sticking to the plan.
Yeah. What are some tips you have to sticking to plans?
Really, it's like this, like if you see my calendar, this is going to happen 100%. Like yellow means 100%. Blue is like maybe pending. And it's really just kind of having the discipline to kind of sticking to what you say you're going to do for yourself. Because if you don't do that, like if you have a day that you're planning on selling and you're planning on having 5 to 8 appointments and you decide to blow that off, maybe this might not mean a lot to you right now, but the more serious you get about your career or just your job, every day is going to cost you anywhere from $200 up to $2,000 to $4,000 to $5,000, depending on your skill level. So think about it. That day that you don't actually do what you're going to plan to do, it's going to cost you a lot of money. So at the end of the month, you can see, okay, cool. Well, I blew those 3 days off based on my sales numbers and my averages. I actually just threw away like $4,000, so that's the way I kind of look at it, is like the things that I have planned in my schedule. If I have to move things around or, just blow them off, like it's going to cost money and it's going to get you further away from the goals that you have. So I don't know if that kind of helps. I know it's kind of a roundabout answer.
Yeah, and something you're gonna notice with like top people is like we just don't let shit get in the way. Like if stuff is supposed to happen that day, like it's happening, And so you learn to interrupt the interruptions. That's something one of my mentors told me a long time ago. Interrupt the interruptions. People are always gonna want your time. People are always gonna ask you to do stuff. And so you need to have a plan and know like, why is this important to me that I'm getting this done on this day? And by the way, there's some things that like didn't really matter. Like in my schedule, it was more of me time, right? So that was in my schedule to like, I don't know, get a massage, hang out, which is important. But like a friend wants to have lunch or do something else, like on that day, it doesn't really interrupt my flow. And it's up to me if I'm like, no, I'd rather be by myself. Or like, yeah, I want to go meet up with this person, But when I have work stuff scheduled, I'm like, this is what needs to get done today. I can meet later, or I can meet tomorrow, And so just getting good at saying like, yeah, totally, I want to connect, but like, here's what I have available, So you can also create a little extra space for the unknown in your schedule of miscellaneous stuff or catch-up stuff or whatever, and give yourself a cushion. If you know, like, you have family or friends that are really demanding, and or people that you have to support in some way, but things come up randomly. I would actually have a 2-hour block here, 2-hour block here. I'd have that a couple times in the week to give yourself a cushion for when mom's like, I need you to go run this errand. I need you to go take care of this. And you had it planned on that, but then you're like, all right, I can put that in my miscellaneous, one of my miscellaneous spots. So you can also plan for some of the unknown as well. But anyway, go on.
And just to kind of like recap kind of what Kathy's saying is like sometimes I'll wake up and I'll put my gym clothes on, and all of a sudden like I get busy and it's like 10 a.m. It's like the busiest time for me during the day. So I will literally be in my gym clothes until 9 p.m. and I'll be like, okay, you know what? I finally finished everything. Now I should go to the gym. And like I've been waiting like 12 hours to go to the gym or whatever. It's kind of funny. But in a nutshell, the power of saying no. You got to say no to a lot of things. If you say, the more no you say to a lot of things that are going to distract you, the more successful you'll be if you kind of stay on path. So I'll say that. The second thing I wanted to go over was sharing your goals and creating a why. Why do you want to do this push? Is it because your manager is telling you to do it? Is it because you have a savings goal? Is it because you want to win the trip? Is it, do you have some kind of something to pay off? Like for me, this last year, I kind of had some trouble. Well, not trouble. I owed way more than I thought to the IRS for like some back taxes. So my goal was to have all my debt paid off by the end of this month. So I'm working harder and more than I ever have. And believe me, it's not something I want to do, but that why is like, I'll look at my CPO for the morning or whatever, or my bank account, and I'll be like, okay, this is the thing that's going to motivate me this morning. I got to get up and I got to go work. I got to get on the phones. I got to call those like 10 customers. I got to, work harder with every single customer, and just having a different mindset. It's going to really kind of push you to the next level. So ask yourself, why am I going to do this in 2020 January? Like, why start in January? Why work hard? For me, after I pay that stuff off, it's getting my second property in January. That's what I want to do. I want to sell enough, not only to win like a free vacation, right? Plug in there for you guys. If you guys haven't been on the region trip, it's amazing, super fun. One of the most fun ones. And then getting a property. So, y'all have any questions on that part, on creating like a why? Okay, the next one I'm going to do is creating urgency. So this one really, I think where urgency really starts, it's not really with you portraying it to the customer, it's you doing it for yourself. So for example, right now we're trying to hit a big goal. So every day I've been putting urgency on myself, which kind of transfers to all the people that I'm talking to. So I think like on average, I have to sell like $3,500 a day from now till December 31st. So every day that I'm talking to a customer, I'm like, hey, I just need like one more sale. I need 4 more sales to hit my goal today. Is there any way you can do it if I make it better for you? As far as like when you're trying to get appointments is, you're going to use that same urgency. So if it goes back to the number one thing I was talking about is knowing your schedule and knowing knowing how many appointments you need. So that way you can tell a customer, hey, you know what? I know you're super busy and I know it's like a crazy time right now, but if I could see you on Tuesday, I only need 1 more appointment. You'd be really helping me out. You don't even have to buy anything, whatever, right? And they go over there and you end up selling them ultimate and you're fine. But creating that urgency within yourself and knowing your numbers again. So that's what I would say. You'll see everybody that's kind of committed to like a year to the end goal, posting that they need X amount of sales, right? And they've already probably done their homework where they need X amount per day, which leads to X amount of sales, which leads to X amount of activity to make that happen. So that's one thing that I would do is just break down again the numbers to the ridiculous to help you create the urgency with yourself, which is going to transfer to anybody that you naturally talk to, because you're not making it up. You know your numbers. You're saying it from looking at your spreadsheet or whatever. So that's what I would say about that. Does anybody have any questions on that creating urgency?
I want to say something to this. This is so important. And just as a business owner in general, like really knowing what things break down, whether you're running a branch, a district office, your sales business, whatever it is, too many times, people are just like, oh, I have this goal. I'm going to work hard to get towards it, you know? And it's like, I'm just going to do as much as I can and work as hard as I can to get to this goal that I have. And like, you got to know exactly what it's going to take and respect the numbers, you know? So when someone says, I was talking to a manager recently and they said, oh, I want to launch out 10 to 15 people, you know, for whatever that week that they were looking at. And I said, okay, cool. Well, how many do you have set for training so far? And they were like, oh, I have like 7 or 8, you know, but I should be able to get, you know, I'll be able to get enough. And I was like, you have like 3 days left of recruiting. I said, in order for you to launch 10 to 15, you would need to have like 20 in training. To have 20 in training, you need to have like 60 set. And he was like, oh, well, I don't know, but I'm going to do my best. And I was like, there's no way in hell that I mean, it'd be a miracle. I said, you have to respect numbers. And whether you're, like, could it happen? Yes, it could happen. He could have 20 and like, you know, all of them show up and all of them launch, but the probability of that is low, you know? And so again, knowing your numbers in your sales business to know, I want to sell $10,000. You can't just be like, yeah, I'm going to do like 20 demos and see like, you know, like that's all I have time for, but I want to do 10K. That doesn't match up, you know? So you got to say 10K. Okay, my average order is $500. I need 20 sales. I need 20 sales. That means I need 30 appointments. I need 30 appointments. I know some people are going to need to cancel or reschedule. I should have space for minimum 35, if not 40 appointments over the 2-week period or 3-week period, right? And so really knowing like how many demos do I need to have in my schedule for me to complete this many, for me to then have blank amount buy at blank amount average, and then boom, I'll hit my number. And by the way, if your averages end up better, that's always bonus. More money in your pocket, you know, but when you plan things, you want to plan with your averages, you know, and even sometimes I look at like a little below, but you want to plan with your averages to know exactly what numbers it's going to take and not the hopeful numbers and the hope for the big, like those will happen. But when you actually have a plan, have your numbers, and you go and execute that, you know, where if the averages are an average, you'll hit it. If it's great, you'll make an extra couple grand or more for the same amount of work, which is awesome because your averages were higher, you know, and if it's a little bit lower, then you ramp it up at the end to make sure you get stuff done. So just know that this is applicable in every single area, not just in your sales business, but really knowing, understanding numbers and respecting those as you're planning any goal that you have for yourself, for your business. So anyway, go ahead. What do you want to see? His tabs on the bottom?
Yeah, so my tabs on the bottom, these are just different months, right? I have everything already kind of like, and as far as numbers go, I show you like some of my numbers. These are probably not updated yet. But if you scroll to the right, I have all these possible things that I can do, right? I always have other options. And then I have how much it costs, the projected CPO, and then like how much I'm going to possibly sell. So like here, I have projected like 42,000 for January based on these right here. Now, some of this will change because I haven't updated yet, but that's how I do it. So you would want to do the same exact thing, but you would want to do it with like your demos, service calls, anything that you have going on in your business. But yeah, and then I just have my kind of cornerstone. I have everything on this spreadsheet that basically I can look at, and anybody can ask me what I'm doing, how much I'm going to sell that week possibly, and I can go based off on all my averages.
Awesome.
Yeah. The last thing that I kind of want to go over is objection handling. All right. This is like the part where I feel it's kind of like the most important. And I was kind of thinking about a couple lines that I know I get that probably will help you. And then y'all can ask me some different objections and I can kind of handle them too. So the first one is I spent all my money during Christmas, right? I'm sure you're going to get a ton of people that have that. So there's a couple ways you can handle it. The first way you can handle it, like before you get there, is try to see the best customers, right? So you don't even have to have that objection. Now, if you run into that objection, of course, you're going to anyway. So with some of the best customers is you can always post it in order, right? Hey, Mrs. Jones, I know you want to do that, but I know maybe it's like a lot right now. What if we go ahead and posted it? Like I had to even post it in order from the mall for January 17th for like $1,500. And then I asked her, hey, like, is there any reason why you would from now till then cancel? And she's like, absolutely not. I really want this, but that's the day where I get back on my feet. I'm like, okay, cool. The second thing is just drop down. You know, if you're Mrs. Jones, I know you're saying that's a lot of money. What if I just show you like a 5-piece for basically $80 a month? Because chances are you're going to spend $80 to $100 in the next month on something. It might as well be something that's going to last forever that you're going to use every single day. And here's the thing. You told me that eventually you were going to get this, right? So doesn't it make sense because January is typically the slowest time of the company sales that you get the best deal? And they're like, yes. Okay, cool. So if you want, we can go ahead and do that. And we can budget the $80. It's like less than paying for gas, right? A couple times a month. The next one is oh well, our resolution is to save more money, right? You might or might not get that one, but kind of want to throw that one there. I like I'm actually having a service call, and we're gonna do a whole service event, and we're gonna write on the board everywhere. New Year's resolution is to get a Cutco kitchen, right? So a lot of people when they're given the objection of like, well, I don't want to waste the money on Cutco. Hey, totally understand, but do you realize that most people, when you're buying regular knives, you're literally wasting money. What you're doing with us is you're actually investing it. Because if you really step back from the picture, we're actually the least expensive knives that you'll ever buy because you buy them one time. And wouldn't it make sense for you to get something and only buy it once? Or are y'all the type of people that just like to buy quantity over quality and are okay with purchasing it? Because if you don't get it today, chances are you're going to get something later. You're just going to spend more money. So it's up to you, right? So just kind of paint the picture that this is like a lifetime product, that it's actually less expensive to buy this than it is to buy other stuff. People will say something like, well, I want to do it, but I want to wait on my tax return. Hey, totally understand. When do you file? When do you start asking better questions? When do you actually get paid? So you're saying like, is $500 too much right now? Or could you budget $80? Because what most people do is they kind of lock in that savings for the $80 or the $100 today. And then when they have that income tax come, they end up paying everything off. Not that you need to, but if you want to, totally interest free. You don't check your credit.
By the way, that's huge. Like that, I used the hell out of that when I was a rep.
Can you say that one again?
And you're talking about the deposit base is all you're talking about. Of like, hey, is the $100 or whatever, like, is that something that you can spend today? And then when the tax return comes,
oops, kind of froze.
I'll pay it off. So that's something that is huge. But go on, Joseph.
Okay. Yeah.
I use that.
Yeah, that's so I like using the line. I'm like, so wait a minute. Like I kind of like pause. I'm like, wait. So you're telling me that you want to get this later and spend more money, even though you're going to get a crazy discount on it today, versus putting only $100, which it's not like I'm not asking you to spend like $1,000, $2,000 right now. I'm only asking for you to spend $100, $200 now, so that way you can save $200, $300, $400, $500 if you decide to get it because of our sales. I mean, it literally just kind of makes more sense to get it now versus later. I don't know if you like saving money, right? So I like throwing that one in there. I want to think about it. Awesome. What do you want to think about? It always comes down to one thing. It's money, right? So always drop down, show something smaller, and then use kind of the other phrases that I just used. I'll promise I'll get it later. When does your contest end? I promise I'll get it before your contest ends, right? That's when you just go back to the post dated one. Hey, you know what? My contest ends on the 15th. If you want, here's what I can do. I can get you the deal today. I can post it to the 15th, and I'll even do this. If you decide from now till then to cancel. It's not going to hurt my feelings. But in order for me to get you the good deal, I have to write it up as an order today. I don't have to process anything, but if you decide to cancel, no worries. You still have all that time frame to cancel. But that way we don't have to go back and forth chasing you with the credit card or anything like that. And of course, you get all that savings. So those are the ones I was kind of just thinking off the top of my head. But at the end of the day, every objection that you're going to probably deal with in January is money. So drop down, give more options, get creative on how you can give solutions for them to purchase the product now.
And use the heck out of their deposit. Like, what is that first? Like, really focusing on that number, not the big number, because that's how you'll be able to close a lot of sales now versus later. It's just making sure you guys are really focusing on like what's that deposit of $80 or $100 or $130. Like, for most people that work full time, like that's not going to make or break it for them. You know, like they might not be able to throw down 700 or 1,000 today because is happening, but like $120 or they're okay, cool, yeah, that's fine. And then next month when they're ready, at any time they can call and pay it off. Now I want to ask you something, Joseph, real quick for these guys. I just want to hear your thoughts on this because I know as someone who's seasoned in the business, like if you guys go watch them and you hear him say, you're like, oh my God, how do I say that to a customer? Like I remember being newer and I'm like, I feel bad like saying that to a customer or like overstepping boundaries, or has anyone ever felt like that? Like let's say somebody's like, and if you watch him, you watch Curtis, you watch all of our top guys, they're just like, it's very like raw and real. What do you feel helps you be able to have a very direct conversation with the customer where they feel like you're helping them versus maybe feeling pressure or feeling like you're being rude or feeling like you're overstepping any kind of boundary? Where's that line for you? How did you get to a place where you could be so direct and people receive it really well? And you're
it's kind of weird you say that because like I've been kind of coaching some people, right? And I'll tell them what I'm saying, and they're like, "Wow, you say that?" And I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, "What do you mean? Like I don't find that offensive." And I have like on my Facebook page, I have all these like great reviews that I've never been kind of pushy to customers, and I think it's because I ask a lot of permission questions. So I'll say something like I'll role play with you real quick, Kathy.
Yeah.
Hey, you know, is that something that you want to do today? Right? You tell me your objection.
Well, I don't know that I can do it today, you know, like, but it is something that I would want to do in the future.
Awesome. So what I'm just like, so I know what I'm hearing is like you want to do this eventually. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So let me ask you something, if it's okay. Like, if I was to find you something that was in your price point that you could budget monthly without breaking the bank, like, would you be okay with that?
Maybe, yeah.
Could I show you real quick what I can do? Because, like, Kathy, I'll be honest with you. Like, everybody tells me exactly what you're saying, that they'll think about it, they'll call me back. Christmas came, but here's the thing: is if it's not Christmas, it's going to be taxes. If it's not taxes, your car's going to break down. It's going to be the dentist, the doctor, you know, the pregnancy. It's going to be something. So, like I said, if I can find something that, you know, is within your budget without breaking the bank, that would make you feel comfortable, you'd be okay with that. Because what I was going to do is just make you like a crazy deal if it's something you're open to. You want me to show you?
Yes.
Awesome. So here's that set. Here's what it costs. Here's the price I can do. You can do it if you want to. It's not a big deal if you don't. But like, I'm not here to hurt you at all. I'm here to kind of help you get what you said you wanted and help you get it at a way better price. So is that something you want to do?
Cool. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So you guys, what are things that you've heard or things that you'd want help handling while we have them on the phone for a couple more minutes? Cool. So you feel good with that? Eduardo, loud.
So one common issue that I actually
Can you hear him?
Not really.
Come closer to the computer.
So one issue that I came across recently, I think it was like about last week, was basically I was gonna get her up on a Siggy with steak knives, and I told her about basically the same objection about post-dating the order. I told her, I was like, I can go ahead and get your information right now, and like I could go always put it in whenever you'd like. And so I told her that, and she said that she still wanted to like speak with her husband about it, and so I just brought up the 3-week trial, you know. But I mean, then again, like I didn't know where to take it from there, and I didn't get anywhere with it.
It's too much money. It's always the same objection. It's too much money. So you need to drop down, throw a 5-piece in there, and then you know, basically let them know like, hey, you know, if you get this 5-piece now, it locks you in. I know it's like I'm coming in your house asking you to spend $2,000 without your husband here. I get it. It's a lot of money, but if you get just like a 5-piece today, what I'll do is I'll call you in 6 months or a year, or you call me, and then I'll help you upgrade. And there's no penalty for getting something smaller today. You're going to get a discount, and you'll still get the same savings if you decide to upgrade to the other set later.
Yeah,
But,
because
yeah. So the whole goal is not to sell them what you want to sell, is to sell them what they feel comfortable selling. Because 2 things are going to happen. 1, yeah, you'll get that order and it'll get canceled. Or 2, they'll probably won't ever. They don't feel really comfortable, and you're kind of like selling what you want to sell. So the answer is always kind of drop down and then upsell afterwards, so that way you can raise the order. I had a lady at the mall. She wanted an ultimate. That's all she wanted. I downsold her on the homemaker, and then let her know that in 6 months to a year, I can help her upgrade to the ultimate without any penalty, get a discount on it, and I keep track of her purchase.
yeah, because I remember she was gonna get a trimmer and the super shears, and basically what I told her was that so that she doesn't have 2 of the same pieces. I mean, I don't know if she wanted them or not. I asked her, and she said that she would think about it. I basically told her that she could buy that right now, and that when the day comes that she wants her Siggy, that I would just buy the super shears and the trimmer from her, and like I'll get her money back that she had paid for. But I don't know if that was the proper move.
So she only wanted the super shears and trimmer.
So that was like because I told her if like
First
so
call
she could,
special.
yeah, so the special basically. I told her so she can lock it in. I was like, you can go ahead and get that right now, so you can have 1 good knife at least, the very least. And I was like, when you want your set, I could just buy those 2 pieces from you, and you can have your entire set. That way, you don't have 2 of the same pieces.
This is, and by the way, Justin, I'd love to hear your thing on this, but you guys, if you know 100% they're not going to get that complete set of signature today, you've given them a special, you've given them a training, they're just like, no, I need to wait for that, and you know they're not going to get it today, then you switch to talking out and say, hey, why don't you just start with something smaller? Like, it's so easy to upgrade you later. I'm like, that way you at least have some stuff to use for now. I said, when you're ready, I'm your Cutco girl. I got you. Like, we'll upgrade you. We'll get your whole set, when you're ready to do that. But if the special and the deal doesn't feel good right now, it's more than you want to swing right now, I'd rather show you some smaller options. And then when you're ready, we'll upgrade you later, And I sold the hell out of galleys and all the starter sets to start someone off. Because again, all of those deposits are between like $90 and $130 is all they're putting down today. And they're getting a nice set with a bunch of free stuff. And then I was like, when you're ready, we'll upgrade you later. Because everyone ends up getting the complete set or the signature. Not everyone gets it the first time, but everyone ends up upgrading to it. So when you're ready, I'll take care of that for you, So I think that's really important, is for you guys not to just go from, this set, you want this set? Okay, let's reserve your first call so they get you on that set. No. If they're not going to do that set today, drop down to a smaller set. And let them know it's super easy to upgrade, and they'll get deals on the blocks. Sometimes like, I don't want 2 blocks. Or, like I had customers say different things. And I'm like, you'll be able to trade that in and get credit towards your upgrade with that. And so just making them feel really comfortable about that it's really simple, really easy to do that. And it lets them actually have some good tools to use in the meantime versus just having like 1 knife, So that's a worst case, but I sold very little of those. The first call was typically putting down $90 to $120 today for one of the starters, and when they're ready, we'll upgrade them, whether that's in a couple months at the end of next year or in a couple years, you know, whenever that time comes. So, Joseph, what are your thoughts on that? Anything else you add to that?
Yeah, I think like there's obviously like different ways to do it. I guess the way I like to do it is I drop down to what they feel comfortable, like I get the easy yes, right? So in your case with the signature or whatever you're selling them, it was kind of wordy. So you gave them like a lot of promises, but nothing's on paper. And that's kind of like a red flag in most people's mind. Like you're making a lot of promises. And as most people know, most reps stick around for 1 to 3 months and then they move on, right? So what I would have done in that situation is I would have found a piece that's not in the signature, like a Santoku cheese knife or a Santoku straight edge, right? And get them like an exclusive piece. And then when they want to get the stuff later, you don't have to buy it back and do all that like crazy stuff, right? The other thing is like you drop down to maybe like a knife, $100. You close the deal, then you ask them, hey, real quick, is it okay if I just show you something real quick? Because if you're gonna spend $100 or $200 today, I can show you a set where you're gonna get this and all that free stuff. I'll throw it all in, and you still get everything you want, and you're gonna pay the same deposit anyways, because you're literally spending that today anyways. But you get the best deal if you get a set. It's up to you, whatever you want to do. And then they'll tell you at that point, they'll be like, oh, okay, fine, let's just do the set. But that's like, I guess I'm used to selling in like very fast paced environments. So I just drop down, drop up, and then close the sale and then upsell again. So it just depends on how much time you have, I guess.
Yeah.
But I like
every time, even though, and I want to say this, even if you showed them sets, like some of you guys were doing like longer in-home demos, and then you got to like a piece or two, like they were going to get, once I write it down, like, all right, cool, your total is going to be, you know, 168 or, you know, whatever it is. And they're like, all right, yeah, that's fine. Then I always used to say like, hey, can I show you something real quick? Or, hey, can I show you how you can get some free stuff? Or, hey, can I show you can get a better value? You know, like, customers are like, no, you know, like, oh yeah, what's up? I'm like, I just want to show you this because I know you're spending the 160 today on this. And then I always said, there's a package or there's a bundle, and I always use personally that verbiage versus there's a set, right? There's a package or there's a bundle that has that knife and these other ones you liked, and it comes with this and the storage unit, and it has the scissors and a peeler and this. And that is like $850 value for like $600, and the deposit is $130, which is actually $30 less than what you were going to spend today anyway. But you get way more for your money. I'm like, is that something that you prefer to do? I'm like, or do you want to go with the two pieces? And I told it to you, but I like my customers to know, you know, like the best values. And all the time, customers are like, oh, well then no, yeah, let's do that. You know, like that happened like on 90% of my, like, they were going to get a piece or two and then ended up, you know, with a starter set or a galley set. But I just said, hey, there's a bundle or a package that has those. And so even if you guys get to one piece or two piece, like always like, awesome, this is gonna be your total, but just make sure to always show them, hey, by the way, can I just share something with you? Because sometimes they weren't listening in between. Even when you were telling them stuff, in their head, they're like, I'm just gonna buy one knife today or two knives today, you know? And that's what they were set on. And everything you say in between, you sound like the Charlie Brown teacher who's like, wah, 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 wah. And they don't hear anything until you're like, oh, so what piece? And, oh, this one, you know? And now they're listening, they're comfortable, you get them the price. But now they're with you, and then when you're like, oh, there's this bundle that has that and all this, and they're like, oh yeah, and in my head I'm like, I just freaking showed this to you, you know. But I sold like crazy, you know, going back and dropping back up once you had already dropped down, so that's really good. So awesome. So any other tips or keys or questions for Joseph? Good. So again, number one, have a plan and make sure you know your stats as you're putting that plan together. So just airtight game plan for you to follow that you can actually commit to. Second, share your goals with people. Really know your why you want to do it, why you want to get there, so you can share that authentically with people and what you're working towards. Third thing, you talked about urgency and really being specific with that urgency of what you need for today, what you need by tomorrow, whatever that is, and then handling objections. Which great stuff. And by the way, this is on YouTube, so you guys can go back and listen to this part and just fast forward it to that part and listen to it again. So any other things for Joseph? Joseph, any other things for these guys before you roll?
I'm gonna probably be doing maybe tonight. I have to look at my schedule, but I'm just gonna do a pop-up Zoom. I'm doing 21 questions that I ask customers to kind of get them to the next step or make them feel comfortable. I was at the mall, the last couple of days, and I just kind of I was thinking about the things that I was saying to customers to help close them, and it was just a lot. I ask a lot of questions so that way the people that I work with don't feel pressured. I'm really just trying to pinpoint, almost like a doctor, what's like the real problem, and then once I find the solution, I move towards what I'm looking for. So I'll put that on the I think on the conference on the GCK page or group me if y'all are interested.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll share that out.
Cool
Good
deal.
stuff.
All right. Let
Awesome.
me know if y'all need anything else. Have a great day and happy selling.
All right. Thank you, Joseph. All right, guys. We are going to take a break. All right. So we got you guys some pizza for whoever wants some pizza. If you don't want pizza,